Slyders takes me back to the days of playing Serious Sam back on the original Xbox at my friend's house growing up, where we would just sit there in all the unadulterated violence and over-the-top mayhem with horde after horde of enemies pouring in all around, just waiting to be mowed down by us, our guns, and our infinite, or well, seemingly infinite amount of bullets. Slyders takes all of my favorite aspects of that, but then adds in a few new things like powers, abilities, and upgrades that you can collect as you level. On my first round, I expected I was going to be in for a long and challenging ride. I didn't do very much damage, I also took a lot of damage, and it was hard to keep the waves of enemies down below the max limit. As, well, if too many of them were present on the map at any given time, I'd start taking ongoing damage that was not easy to recover from. But the more I played, the more I started to overcome these challenges. Bosses dropped chests with loot that I could equip, and I could even spend special gems in order to permanently add that equipment to my collection that would persist between levels. After a few tries, I began to get myself a fairly decent collection of gear, and I was able to beat the first tier of difficulty, which from there I unlocked the ability to buy powers and upgrades, and then I could just load into the game with already having levels unlocked of. And the handguns also eventually unlocked into better and more powerful weapons, and soon I was at a point where nothing could stop me. I mean, especially with this little drone guy, my god is it OP. It can single-handedly take down entire bosses and most of the waves itself. Because after only 2 hours of play, I was at a point where I could just put the first level onto the hardest difficulty, load into the world, sit myself at its center, and just do nothing except pick my upgrades as I leveled up. On my very first try of only picking upgrades, not moving, and never firing a single bullet, I made it to the last 3.5 minutes before I was finally taken down. So, there's a bit of balancing work that probably still needs to be done. I really like the powers in the persistent loot. It makes it so that even on a bad run, I feel like I have the ability to make at least some sort of progress, and then with all the different stat options that I can play around with, these items allow me to build my preferred playstyle. I'm excited to see what the developer does with this game before its release date later this year, and I can definitely see myself picking it up again to play more once more content's released for the demo, or just when the game fully comes out itself.